What would you do if you were not afraid? Fear is something that paralyzes us. What is fear really? Fear is a perception or a concern about a possible outcome, right? And what fear does, if you dwell on it long enough, is it paralyzes you and makes you unable to move. Why is that possible? Phenomenal concept. I was reading a book, great book, I'll talk about it later, but one of the ideas was that there was a lot of people that actually went insane. Currently, this guy was was interviewing people that had gone insane, and they were saying that there's a lot of patients that essentially made themselves insane simply because in their mind they could achieve the goals that they wanted to, that they weren't reaching in life. So, classic example he gave was this woman that really wanted like a great, passionate, loving relationship, and her husband was exactly the opposite, and she literally went crazy. And in her head, she was like married to the nobility, the husband really liked her, and all this kind of stuff. Crazy thing. And he was saying the doctor who was working on this woman said, if I could make her better, I don't know if I'd want to because she's so happy in her head. So it's this really interesting idea. What we believe in our heads ultimately plays out in real life. So the reason why fear is so paralyzing is when you're thinking about the outcome. She'll say no. My boss won't help me. I will, people will think I'm crazy, right? If you are thinking those thoughts, right, and they're happening, they're really there for you. So of course, I also wouldn't jump. It's like if I would go into business and I would know I lose all my money, so I'm not gonna go into business and lose all my money. So what happens when I'm afraid of losing all my money? I'm paralyzed because that's where I think it's going to go, right? So the idea of breaking out of fear, of saying, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Basically, acknowledge you're afraid. That's totally fine. Everyone, that's normal. You're a human being, right? Take your fear, put it outside of you and say, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Okay, very easy. I'd have a list of things I would do if I wasn't afraid. Again, everyone has their own list. Look in your life and figure out what you would be doing now if I could I can give you some kind of a drug where you just wouldn't feel fear, right? You would ultimately, I think, live a life that you found far more satisfying. So if you make that list of things you would do if you were afraid, let's say I would say you won't fail. Now, what would you do? Once you make that list, you could start to develop a viewpoint and a desire to actually start to go out and do the stuff that actually matters. Because most of us love to sit back, we love to play it safe, we love that everything's calm and collected, but what ultimately that does to us is it makes us so petrified of change that when change eventually comes, we're completely broken. So here's the goal today. If you could do it, try to write out 5 things you would do if you weren't afraid. Good luck with that.